All right, little quick review of the DF70C diving flashlight. I'm hoping to take this out eventually. This is just a quick review, not underwater obviously. It is still pretty cold outside, so I'm not going anywhere in the water anytime soon, but it comes with a relatively generic and rough instruction and direction sheet, actually in a couple different languages, but it's missing a couple of the pieces in the actual directions. So for example, this little tube came in there. I have no idea what it's for. There's also, like, it mentions a ball joint. So for example, you know, it mentions the ball joint right there, but there's no picture of it. And in the directions, there's no depiction of what it's for, what purpose it serves. But I know the ball joint, if you look at it, it is hollow, and you need to screw it in with this basically bolt that requires a hex key, and there's no hex key. So if you do, use that piece, you would need an extra hex key. And so what's going on is that there's a little hole right there, maybe hard to see, but you can actually screw that on so that you kind of have like an additional handle. Now, I already have the top off, or the end off, and the end cap does have a little slit in it, or a little hole. And what you can do is, with the included lanyard, you can put that on there, and it's a flexible piece, so you can wrap it around your wrist and to keep it in there. The battery itself is a rechargeable battery. Okay, it's pretty big in size. I'm not really even sure what size it is. It's kind of like a D battery, but not. It is, like I said, it is rechargeable, so make sure you put it in the right way. Positive end goes down in the flashlight. And the same thing, it comes with a little charger that has a spring load to it, so you would just pop the battery in there and spring load it and charge. And if you notice, there's a little port right there, and that connects with your USB. So obviously, if you can do it in a wall mount, that would be a lot easier. When you first get the flashlight, make sure you do check the battery. There is a little seal protector that basically covers and goes over there. So if you were to actually try to hook up the battery and the flashlight, you notice the spring is not able to make contact when this is there. So make sure you do take that piece out. Otherwise the flashlight won't work, and that'll be a little troubleshooting for you there. And so it does have comes with two rubber gaskets around it already to provide the waterproof seal. And there's a couple extra waterproof, rubber gaskets that come with it. And like I said, with the exception of like these parts right here being very questionable, I just did a quick run through. I'm gonna carefully put this on with 2 hands. I'm gonna just try to balance this right there while I screw this up, or screw this on, I should say, and not actually lose video. So you want to make sure, obviously, that it's on tight and that you maintain a really good seal until it doesn't turn anymore. Try not to, necessarily overturn it and grind it, but it stops, and you can feel it stop. So you don't want to keep turning it because you don't want to ruin the O-rings, and it recommends changing the O-rings every now and again. And so on the light itself, there's a couple different things, and there's a little notch in there and a little arrow, and so you can see the arrow. And there's a little list. So right there, there's a U for UV light. And so we can see, I'll try to angle this, we can see it's kind of blue. And I'll bring it into the water, and we'll do another test under the water. And then we have the next light is an R. So that one's gonna be red. And again, I'm not sure how well that's covering. Hopefully that comes up a little better. Then we have a really bright light. Okay, basically it's a little half light. And then even brighter. And then this one is a little dimmer. So there's 5 settings. The last one obviously would be off. And so the whole point, obviously, a waterproof flashlight. So we're gonna take it over here, and I filled the sink with some water. I'm gonna be careful with my phone here not to drop it. And so it is underwater. And so, hopefully you'll be able to just move this and twist it with your fingers, especially if you're underwater. Maybe you have some gloves on, it's a little better grip. So notice we can see the blue light flashing over there underneath. Turn it a little bit more. We see some red. Try not to blind myself in the light. You got that kind of like half light, the really, really bright light, and then we kind of have a mini dimmer light. So Once again, and notice I was just doing that with one hand, relatively easy to turn with one hand. There's probably rubber gaskets up top. I didn't play around. I didn't try to take off any of this stuff. We recommended not to mess it up, because again, the more you try to play with it, the more you have a chance of getting water in there. And if you notice, there is a series of different LED lights in there. And so we have the red light over here towards the top. The blue light, I believe, is part of the other bulbs in there. But then there's a combination of different ones that provided the different series of lights. So cool little light. I look forward to checking it out. Recommended always, especially if you're using it in salt water, or if you get it dust, debris, materials near it, always make sure you rinse it off with fresh water, dry it off as best you can. And if you need to, take out the battery, make sure it's charged, or put that little seal in there so that you're not wasting the battery and having the battery kind of leak over time. So check it out.